Good morning, traders. This is a live trade recap, but also a month in review. Today is March 31st. I took my last trade of the month this morning. We're going to go over everything that happened this month and talk about why this was the best month by far of my day trading since I've started trading last May of 2020. So stick around. It's going to be a great video with a lot of information. A little bit longer than usual, and as always, if you'd like to download my trade tracking spreadsheet or my 2-hour calculator, go over to the YouTube channel homepage, click on the little Facebook icon, and go over to the Trading Armor. That'll bring you to the Trading Armor trading group. You'll become a member. Everything is free. Click on Files, and you'll be able to download my trading plan, which will be updated soon because I'll put out a new one for February. I'll put a new one for April, and you can have the trading plan, the 2-hour calculator, the spreadsheet, all that good stuff. There will also be a new spreadsheet for February, so check that out. So let's go over today's trade. As always, I start with Webull on the markets pane, top gainers, pre-market, click on all, and then I only look at the top 3 stocks, which at the time that I was trading was these 3. I'm not sure if that was the order they were in, so they're still the top 3, but I was trading right around 4 a.m., as you'll see in the video. So here we go. You can see over here it's like 402.48. I've got RKDA. I guess IQ was on the top 3 as well at the very beginning, but there were no trades there. CLRO and CASI, and I always mark out the previous high, like over here. This is the high established from the aftermarket. If the stock is not trading above that level, then I can't take a trade or even look for a trade. And CLRO, it made a new high right at 4 a.m. and quickly kind of dumped down below point A of the ABCD pattern. So once that happens, that new high becomes where the price has to cross before I can look for a trade. So I can't look for any trades down here because the ABCD pattern failed. And then CASI was the first one to give an entry, because now this was a little bit weird price action, but I try to take all the subjectivity out of my trading and just follow my criteria strictly. So here's point A, which is the low, right? And this was the last candle of the aftermarket, and then this is the candle of the open. So you can call this point A, and then it established a new high right at 4 a.m. And then it pulled back almost below point A, but it didn't pull back below point A, so I can still look for an entry. My ideal entry would have been for the break of this candle, and you can see that I missed that. But part of my plan and my strategy is if I miss the entry, as long as it hasn't either stopped me out where it would have, so my stop, if I got in right here, my stop would have been the low of this candle, or 1 cent below it, and you can see that the price hasn't come down there yet. And the profit target, I believe, was like 256 if I would have got in over here. So as long as the stop loss or the profit target hasn't been hit, I can put in an order and try to catch it on the way back down if the price comes back down. And that works out most of the time. That's happened a lot this month. So you can see I put my order out there. I won't say it happened a lot, but probably 3 or 4 times. Usually I get the entries without missing them. And you can see there it comes down, and now it gets me into the trade, and there's you can see my profit target is 256. This is the 2-hour calculator I was talking about. So it hasn't hit that profit target, and it hasn't hit my stop loss. So this is a perfectly valid entry. This is no different than if I would have got in for the break of this candle, other than I did add 1 cent for slippage, which, oftentimes on the way in I get 1, 2, 3 cents of slippage. So I thought that was reasonable. If the trade fails, it only adds 1 cent per share for my loss. So there's my profit target. Now, I agree that this isn't the cleanest price action ever, but again, I'm trying to remove all subjectivity out of my trades. Sometimes the textbook patterns fail and the ugly ones succeed, so I'd rather just do the exact same thing every time. If it's trading above the new high and it hasn't come down below point A, then I can take a trade, and when a 1-minute candle makes a new high, and then just either hold to my profit target or to my stop loss. When you start saying things like, oh, I want the pattern to look a certain way, like a nice, clean, pretty price action. I mean, what does that mean, So what one person thinks is really clean might be ugly to another person, and vice versa. So, all right, so here's what happened. It stopped me out, but it was still, a good trade as far as execution and everything. It hit 220, which was my stop loss. I got filled exactly where I wanted to. And while that was coming down against me, I was noticing RKDA running up strong. And then I took CASI. I took that off the list right after that trade ended because at that moment it was number 4 on the list. And SNDL took over the number 3 spot. But we're going to come back to that in a second. So RKDA, I'm looking for the price to break through that level before I can take a trade. I did notice this 3-bar play setup, which I just kind of acknowledged. It wasn't anything I was gonna play because it's down below the previous high. But it's always interesting to note where those happen because to me they're not really that strong. They work out sometimes, but I think there's a lot of other things going on behind the scenes. Let's see. Okay, so now CASI popped back up on the top 3. It was kind of battling with SNDL, and this was an entry that I would have taken, but I missed it. So I took it off the list because once I missed that entry, then that's it. And it kept on struggling for the number 3 spot anyway. And then, so here RKDA was the only thing I could look for an entry at this point because it was the only thing in the top 3 beside CLRO, and that's obviously not giving any entries. Oh, okay, here, this was kind of interesting. I think I plugged in, what the 3-bar play trade would have looked like if I would have taken that, which I wouldn't because it's below that price level. But again, it's just interesting stuff to look at while you're waiting for a play to happen. So 313 would have been the ideal entry without any slippage whatsoever. The stop would have been 295 and the target would have been 349, and you could see it got nowhere near there, 30 cents below the target. So that would have been a failed trade. Well, the stop would have been over here. So you know what? I'm not 100% sure. Did it come down to 295 or not? But it certainly didn't. Even if it doesn't stop out, it may not actually. But it's not really a 3-bar play anymore because it's supposed to hit it on the 3rd bar. But it looks like I think it would have been a successful trade because it never came back down below that stop. But again, that's outside of my criteria. I was just looking at that for curiosity's sake. It's not something I would take because it's below the high of the previous session. So we could see what happened with it. My plan and strategy says that I have till 4:30. So you can see there's 4:29 and 30 seconds. I watched it all the way to 4:30 or to, even a little bit after. And this thing would have had to break through, give me a pullback, and then an entry before 4:30. It doesn't matter if at 4:29, it's right at the edge there. I can't hang out any longer. You have to have strict rules and your strategy and follow them, because what happens if I would have waited around, taken the trade, and then it would have failed? Imagine how you would feel. That's a loss I didn't have to take because it's in my plan and my strategy not to trade after 4:30. But in this case, I'm just going to show you, just because sometimes things, sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you get unlucky, and that's what happened here. Here's, here it is. So here's 4:30, right? That's when I have to stop looking at the, at Weeble, basically. And then at 4:31, it broke through, which would be my signal to look for an entry. And then my entry would be the first candle that makes a new high, which happened right here. And then my stop loss would have been over here. But again, this is all theoretical because this happened after 4:30. So this is just like, what if it happened before 4:30? So my stop loss would have been 311, and my entry would have been, 319. I think I put that in, but I'm not sure if I did it correctly. 311. Yeah, it's just about the same thing. So 335 would have been the target, and whoops, that looks like 335, which it got hit over here, and on this one. without hitting the stop loss. So that would have been a successful 2-hour trade, but again, it's outside of my trading plan. And the most important thing when you have a good trading plan and strategy that works is the discipline to go along with it, because if you start doing things outside of your plan, it's like a slippery slope. Where do you stop breaking your rules? And before you know it, you're taking really risky setups and doing things outside of your plan, and when they go against you, you're going to really be kicking yourself. So, but I just wanted to show you that the criteria of breaking out through the previous high is important, because you could see that it worked out here. It doesn't always work out, but that was why, all of a sudden this thing really started taking off, was because it broke out through that previous high, which was established in the aftermarket, and all of it was trading above the previous day. So that's pretty strong stuff. All right, so now let's take a look at today's loss, and we'll see what the overall week and month looks like. So I lost $338 on that trade, not a big deal. For the week, so I've had only a 50% win rate this week, yet I'm still up over 1.24% on the account, up $8 in profit. And actually you have to subtract this 46 cents because that was a free stock. But this is a trade. This is one single trade, and this is 2 trades. One was a winner, one was a loser, but the loser was bigger than the winner. And that was just because of the way the chart worked out. You can see the video from yesterday if you want to see what that's about. And then this is today's trade, one single trade on CASI, and that was it. So that's it for the week. And then for the month, we're up over 10%. I think it's actually just slightly below 10%, like 9.9%, because a few cents of profit is from the free stocks, but I mean less than $1. So that's and the bad thing about looking at the trading P&L over here is it doesn't show you the instances where you took multiple trades on the same stock. So it's not the best way to look at your performance. And the account is up to 664.23 now. We started with like 546 this month, but only $58 of that is from actual trading, and then the rest is from free stocks. So just want to explain where all these numbers are coming from, just in case you guys notice discrepancies. But the P&L, that only is reflective of your actual trading. They don't calculate free stocks or anything like that in the P&L, so that's good. And now let's take a look at the spreadsheet. So this is for the whole month. All the data is here. You can see that this week, I won 2 trades and lost 2 trades, but still ended up green on the week. Last week was a small red week. It was a weird week. There was a day where I was having internet issues. I couldn't trade. And then another day where absolutely no setups appeared. So that was fine. That's going to happen sometimes. And the first week was definitely the best and biggest week. Second week was also very good. But then there was 3 losses on the last day. And that brought the P&L down a little bit. It would have been like $25 there. But even without those 2 weeks, like let's say I just calculated these last 3 weeks, which don't look so hot, I would still be in the green. I think like $7 or $8 or something I calculated, which is not a lot of money or anything, but it just goes to show you that even when things aren't so good like they were in the first 2 weeks, when you're trading 2R, you can still make a profit. And I think further evidence of that is down here. Here's my pre-market P&L, number of trades. My win rate was only 55%. And still came away with about a 10% gain on the account. Let's look at February real quick, and we'll come back to this to show you how here my win rate in February was not very good at all, 36.4%. So you think that would have been a red month, but it was actually green, $7.55. Not a lot of money, but the point is that even when trading is really bad, or maybe my criteria wasn't as strict. I know my rules weren't quite as refined last month as they are this month, but I was still able to come away green with all that stuff. So that's, again, the power of the 2-hour trading. If you want to go back a little further, January was a mess, and that was my fault because I wasn't sticking to the plan and strategy 100%. So there's yellow trades there. That's what those mean, is whenever I take a trade that was outside of my plan or my strategy, you can see it full of yellow trades. And so I ended up red about 7.45, and then I calculated manually without the yellow trades. So without breaking my rules, I would have been green on that month. And then December, kind of the same story as January. You know, the further back you go, the less refined. But even then, I still came away green slightly on the month. I mean, very slightly. But the point is that the 2R strategy can really make up for a lot of other stuff that's outside of your control. Now, here's some other very interesting data points. Is that so my wins totaled $114.98, 18 wins. Losses $57.75 with 15 losses, and that's that's where you come up with that win rate. And the actual risk to reward ratio, it ended up being 1.66 to 1 instead of 2 to 1, because the 2 to 1 obviously is theoretical, and then there's things outside of your control once you're in the trade, like slippage and stuff like that. And usually you get more slippage on the way out when the trade goes against you than when you win the trade. So that's where that difference is, but it's still very, very close to 2 to 1. I actually calculated what 2 to 1 would have been. I would have had to make $115.50 instead of this $114.98. So basically 52 cents away from 2 to 1. My average winner was $6.39. My average loser was $3.85. So all in all, a very, very good month. It's the best month I've ever had since I've started trading, and I attribute it primarily to discipline and doing the exact same thing every day. If you watch all my trades from this month, you'll see that I was taking the exact same setup every single day, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. In fact, I can tell you that it worked 55% of the time, but because when it works, I'm holding the 2R, and when it doesn't work, I'm stopping out at 1R. I ended up very green this month with about 10% increase in the account. So, and again, that's just my day trading only. If you look at my buying power, you're going to see, kind of wild swings in the numbers. And every time you see one of these little red triangles, that's a day where I got some free stocks. And I thank you for whoever's clicking on my link to get me those. I appreciate that. These are actually the only 3 times I've gotten that since I started trading. Let me show you that really quick, because I want to show you everything, and show you that I don't use Webull just because I get free stocks, because I've been trading now with Webull since April of 2020, and I'll show you how many times I've gotten free stocks. I have over 1,200 subscribers now, and I've gotten 8 free stocks total. So that means that the first 2 were just for me signing up to Webull. I've gotten 2 stocks each time, right? So these were just from signing up to Webull. So that has nothing to do with anybody clicking on a stock. This is the first time that someone clicked on a stock clicked on the link and got me free stocks. So that was not till February of this year. And you can see that I signed up on May 6th of 2020. And let's see, yeah. So, and then the next 2 came in March, and then the most recent one's March 17th. So, and they came in pairs. So I've only gotten free stocks from the link 3 times since I've been trading with Webull. That is not enough to make me want to continue to trade with Webull. If I wasn't able to make money with Webull, I would be looking for another broker. But obviously I am able to make money with Webull because making money day trading is much more about your plan and your strategy and your ability to execute it than it is your platform. It's very rare that a trade has, gone against me, or I should say that I've lost money because of Webull. It almost never happens, really. So anyway, I think I've covered everything for the month and for the day, and let me know if you have any questions. I appreciate everyone watching and subscribing and liking the videos and commenting. The comments are always great. I like to answer questions. I like to help other new traders that were in the same boat I was a year ago. So always let me know if you have any questions. And I'd love to leave you with always take your stop losses and always honor your profit targets. And you should be green in the long run. That's why I'm green this month. It's simple as that. All right, guys, take care. See you in the next video. I'll see you next month, actually.